Yeah, all that.
What's wrong with this dude?
All right, all that.
We're done. We're good. We
Yeah,
got the intro.
you got the intro?
How we doing? Roe v. Wade. Where we at?
First and foremost, let's officially welcome the viewership and the listenership back to the From Earth podcast. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Julius from Earth. I'm here with the homie Esoteric.
I'm gonna change it up. What's happening?
And the homie B. Davis.
What's good? What's going on?
And it's good to be back. It's good to be back. New format, new digs, but, you know,
Yeah.
same
looks,
alacrity.
New look, same great taste.
There you go. There you go. We're going to keep it short and sweet tonight.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about, matter of fact, the last episode that we did before our hiatus, we were talking about Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how the Supreme Court was kind of having like those secret meetings on voting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't official yet. And then we took our time off and came back, and now it's official.
Let's call it what it is. We had to bail B out. So we had to come up with the money for that. Here we are. He's out. Let's clap it up for my man over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do
You know what I mean?
things.
I do things.
You know, I get busy around here.
You know.
Nah, I mean, the funny thing is, probably of all of us, B was probably the one chilling the most.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Like,
He was chilling the most, man. We was doing vacations and graduations and whatnot.
you on cruises and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
man. Had my feet in some white sand, some blue waters.
That's what's up.
Feel me?
Yeah, it's luxurious.
How'd your
it's
formal
nice.
night go? What'd you wear?
Yo, I hate you so much.
What'd you wear?
I hate you so
What'd
much.
you wear?
I'll tell you what I didn't wear.
Yeah.
I didn't wear formal attire.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Did they allow you in the room?
They did, man.
Did they?
I mean, it was already paid for, so I was coming in no matter
Did I
what.
say helps around the back?
It was it was just a matter of whether they were going to judge me or not. And I got judged.
They was looking at you crazy, bro?
Yeah, bro, I got judged. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, never mind. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. But no, it was a good time. We had our time off, but now we're back. Roe v. Wade. I want to tackle this from a different angle real quick, and I need some help trying to understand what the people who are so opposed to the original ruling and the ones that are championing this current repeal of Roe v. Wade now. Mm-hmm. I need some help trying to understand, like, why are they so pressed on this issue?
Oh, the for or for the against?
The ones who are for this current repeal, talking about like they are Roe v. Wade being overturned. The ones that are for that.
Let's just call it what it is. They're not. Nobody is for this for the most part. Especially if it's in party, they don't know how to digest it, so they don't want to combat that. They're just going with the punches at this point. Because some of the shit I'm hearing, man, it's stupid. Some of these representatives, Republican representatives, are sitting here trying to make it, a little less easier to swallow, so to speak. The things I'm hearing, like, oh, well, women can control how men ejaculate and things like this. Some crazy shit I'm hearing. Like, they're putting all this on women now. And these are other women saying it. So I don't know what to expect or what even to go from this point for people like, how do anybody justify this, let alone another person of the same gender?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, This isn't men saying this shit. This is women saying this shit. So it's like, what are we fighting against now?
But there are men. There are a lot of men who are they deem themselves pro-life, right? Mm-hmm. I guess my issue is like first and foremost, like what we have. There's a lot of life right now that's not really being cared for. Mm-hmm. That's not really being taken, protected. So how do we get to this point where we're telling women that they can no longer abort a pregnancy?
Well, if we go conspiracy theory, I know this is B's alley here. You know what I mean? Like, let's think about what's been happening in the past year or two, right? Where the message that's being sent out as far as white communities is basically we're now the minority. We're losing our people to the country, basically. We're now becoming the consensus is changing more towards a blended country. And with that being said, is because what's the one homegirl who said
protecting white lives, saving white lives.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was not a mistake. First and foremost, right to live and right to life and white lives, two different things. But it's still the mindset of a lot of Americans, which is why we've had a lot of these mass shootings in the past 2-3 years, for the reasons why they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to minority communities and doing just that. But this is going to protect, I don't want to say protect, it's the wrong word. This is going to force a lot of women to just deal with the situation. You know what I mean? There's obviously, you know, women collectively who are opposed against this are more or less on the same stance, but I see a lot of white women standing for it. And that's where it's like, okay, what's going on? Because it's now the small percentage of people that you're seeing in the media, you know, when it comes to that, versus the masses who are against it. You know, and those people you're looking at are those who are in the media. Those are people who are politicians. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no predominant street cred at this point where we're seeing the opposition and or, I guess, the for in this. You know, so I don't know how to come at this, if I'm being honest. I don't know. Like, I know, like, I would not vote for it. Obviously, I don't believe, you know, someone should be told on any aspect of how to do something as a human being by a government, let alone. But I don't know personally, like, how to sit here and come at this topic when I'm hearing so much bullshit from the people who started it, you know. And again, other women who are coming at this, because now it's like they're fighting amongst themselves yet again.
So, all right, and B, I know I want you to jump in on this because, you know, this is kind of up your alley anyway. I find it to be political. It's another political move, right? The timing of it. Why was this so necessary right now when you're dealing with literally the height of mass shootings?
Right.
And you're dealing with, you know, probably the tipping point of, you know, gun reform and gun laws and stuff like that. The timing of this decision just seems to be really, what's the word I'm looking for? It just...
Convenient?
Yeah. And I say that, I know I've said this in the past, but this is a major distraction
Oh, yeah.
to, you know, what things are kind of looking like right now.
Right.
And then when you start looking at the time frame, you start looking at, we're coming up into 2023 and,
Yeah.
you know, another presidential election run and stuff like that. Like, all of this just seems to be kind of like a political stance.
But we have the midterms now, so that's going to be key for the next 8 years after this. And I think, I'm not sure if I put it in the group when we were talking or not, but I saw something and it just kind of very profound and yet sad all at the same time. But I saw something on, I forget where I was looking at. Either way. And it was like, you know, a woman gets raped by a man by gunpoint, and the gun's to protect the class in this conversation.
Yeah,
Crazy,
nah,
right?
you did throw that in the group.
Right?
You
But
did
I'm
throw
just
that in the
like, that to me right there was just one of those defining moments. Just like, this is how fucked up we are. Like,
Man,
bro.
there's so many angles to kind of or what do you call it, like things coming off of this topic, but we're not really going to have the time to get into all of it tonight. I want to hear what the B Davis Project has for us.
Welcome back, B.
Yeah, man. We in the building, bro.
You know,
You're right. There's a multitude of things that come out of this, right? And a multitude of things that go in. But it does all boil back down to white replacement theory. This has been the idea for about the past 90 years with the slowing birth rate in white communities and things like that, right? So when you realize that white men don't care about white women, then this starts to make more sense, right? And when white women start to realize that white men don't actually like them, then they'll start actually voting in their own self-interest. So when you have, you know, the reason that people are blaming the white women right now, right, is the 52% of them that voted for Trump, which then allowed him to put 3 Supreme Court justices on the court, which allowed us to get to this ruling, right? Those 52% do not realize their husbands don't give a shit about them. and that's the problem, right? They actually think their husbands like them. They believe when their husbands sit there and talk shit about women of other races, right? And talk about, oh, I don't want a chick with a fat ass like that. Yes, they do. They're in a public bathroom right now, jerking off to Meg Thee Stallion videos. I guarantee you. that's what these women got to understand. That's what they're up against out here. You know what I'm saying? But they're still. I'm being dead ass serious right now, bro. Like I'm really being dead. I'm joking, but I'm being dead ass serious. Like they have to understand that these men don't look at them as anything other than a baby carrying uterine accessory. And as long as they can carry on the bloodline, that's all they give a fuck about. They just want to have more white children. So that's the to me the overview of how we get here, right? Okay. Now, the other issue is, listen, you could have just voted for Hillary. We wouldn't be dealing with this situation right now. You could have just voted for Hillary, but y'all ain't like Hillary because she was a woman. You ain't think a woman could do the job. You know what I'm saying? You thought she had an attitude. You thought she was mean. Well, guess what? Here we are.
All right. That's very well thought out. Thank you.
He's been sitting on that.
Yeah, definitely.
In prison.
All jokes aside.
I've been thinking, when Hillary lost, I knew it then. I was like, what are y'all doing? The day after, you know what I'm saying? As soon as Trump got elected, now people want to put on pussy hats and this and that and go and have protests. And I'm like, where was this energy before the election?
Right.
Like, y'all waited until after the election to get amped up. Like, this dude is on camera talking about grabbing by the pussy and y'all didn't do nothing.
Right.
52% of y'all went out and voted for him. And now you're wondering why he's taking away your rights? He told you he don't give a shit about you. Look at the way he talks about you publicly and stands 10 toes on it. And you thought that dude was going to protect you? You thought that dude was looking out for you?
Yeah, you're right.
Nah. And so, like, in the current legal climate, right? The states have all been trying to erase transgender people for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. It's just because these people were so stuck on their fake privilege that they didn't want to look at the fact that they were already trying to get rid of a group of people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now they've come for the women folk, and now everybody's upset. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now these chicks want to take a knee and sing Kumbaya with everybody. You understand what I'm talking about? Now they realize, oh, these are personal rights and civil rights issues. We're all part of an oppressed group. No shit. Black people been trying to tell you that.
Well, that's the key part of it as well, right? That all of this seems to be just more of an opportunity to just to have infighting. Like you have people in the same class, as yourself, who are on separate ends of the spectrum on this.
Yes.
Which is what I don't understand.
So, and I'm sorry not to cut you off.
No, please
but
go.
As we're talking, as it pertains to, specifically the women folk, they're the ones that are most impacted, I believe, by this ruling, right? This has been an issue within the feminist community for a long time. When you start talking about black feminism and white feminism. And this is what the black feminists have been saying, is that these white feminists still feel like they have privilege, like these things don't, like they think that these bad things won't happen to them. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas black feminism is like, yo, we fully understand that this could happen at any given time. Why don't y'all get on board and join this parade and we could all try to stop this together? Don't wait for the shit to happen and now you want to come to the party. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's been an issue in the feminist movement for a minute. But until these things happen, then it doesn't bubble up and it doesn't come to light. So when I log into Twitter and now I'm seeing white women wanting to take a knee and shit, and I'm like, this is why we have this divide, because I don't want to hear that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to see your solidarity today. Where have you been? You know what I'm saying? We've been working on erasing the Black Lives Matter group, right? Trump came down the escalator and said Mexico is sending us rapists and murderers. Trans people aren't people. Get them out of here. They can't use bathrooms. Like, where have y'all been? This is what's been going on. Mm-hmm. We have been trying to disassemble society for the last 4-5 years now. In public. On Front Street. Now you mad? Should have voted for Hillary.
Nobody cares unless it happens to them. We always say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just how America is. It does not matter until it happens to you.
Yeah, so I mean, for those 52% that voted the way they voted, I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, you literally asked for this. You voted against your own self-interest. You asked for this to happen, and now it's happened. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand the tears.
Yeah, and that's, it's crazy you said, because, I have a few people who usually vote in the right. It's not a big deal, I mean, generally speaking, but the conversations we have are kind of eye-opening in some aspects, and not to take it away from Roe v. Wade, but just more that's like how people vote versus where they understand, and this is kind of ambiguous for either party if you think about it. You're voting on the left, you think you know all the ideals, but you really have a mentality of the right, and vice versa. You vote for the right, but you're living on the left. You know what I mean? Like, the people you vote for, specifically if you vote Republican for that matter, in some instances, is representing people that you can't afford to be around, that your livelihood is not supported by that party.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you're okay saying you live in the ideal, but let's be real. What ideal is that exactly that you could say that the right's going to offer you if you're just an everyday blue collar person?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's zero for the most part. I mean,
Nothing.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
There's
At
not
all.
one thing they're going to talk about that's going to help you as a blue collar employee.
Nope.
Small business, different story. You know what I mean? Tax breaks, I get that. But again, if you're not that person, for the most part, 9 times out of 10, bro, you're voting for the wrong people because they don't represent you. And again, that's not saying the left is any better. I mean, a lot of times, we just vote because our parents did it, and we think that's the party we're supposed to belong to. So this is not capable for the left or right. All I'm saying is understand where your vote goes. Understand what you're voting for, or not, for that matter. Because a lot of times people put people in position simply because it feels good. We've had 2 presidents in the past. We're being real. Were just because it felt good. The last 2 we had, excluding what we have now, is because it felt good for that certain environment to be voted in. So, for me,
You don't think Obama was a decent president?
no, I mean, not talking about how I feel about what he was. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, there's some things that I could be like, Romney was not the guy. Let's just put it that way. But it wasn't like Obama. I mean, again, he was new to me at the time. I didn't really know much about him.
Right.
And if I'm being real, I was like, yeah, I rock with McCain. Like, there's nothing that McCain's not talking about as far as the infrastructure of the country, things of that nature, that did not make sense to me. So, but then you put Palin on the ticket, and I was like, yeah, fuck that. It kind of threw me off. Now, again, it's not saying
you can't trust them Alaskan women, bro.
you can't trust them. If they
Trust
can
me
see
on that.
Russia,
You can't trust them Alaskan women.
but
You don't want none of that.
if what I'm saying is,
Shit wild up there.
I was not torn because Obama was black. You know what I'm saying? I looked at it from a perspective of what's best for what we are trying to do as a country.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Why not? Because the amount of people that asked me if I was voting for Obama just because he was black was a staggering number. To which I said, are you not voting for him because he's black?
Right.
Like, if you're not voting for him because he's black isn't an issue for you, why would you assume that's an issue for me?
Right.
Which tells me that their reality is they expect their president to be white.
Exactly.
So why can't I just vote for the black guy?
A white male at that.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, why? What's wrong with that? Because apparently that's what everyone else is doing. Yeah. You see a white guy in a suit, you think you want to vote for him, and that's it, right? Like that's the length of the examination that they go through to determine who's going to be president.
So I got a question because I know I don't want to move too far off of the Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Let's bring it back.
But I really want to ask, what can we do now? What can we do? Obviously, we didn't have a vote into whether it was going to be repealed or not.
Well, we did.
No. We had a vote where it led to Supreme Court justices.
That was the vote.
Yes, I got you. But I'm talking about in its full manifestation of the decision of the Supreme Court as of last week or whatever it was at this point. We weren't in the room.
No.
Right? What can we do now? Because I don't want to hear vote harder at this point. That's not what I want to hear. Like,
Bro, what?
That's literally the only option, though, bro. Like, to be 100%. Like, you've got to you have to vote the local elections to keep the local laws off the books. So where you have all these states that have trigger laws that are going into effect, as soon as this ruling came down, that doesn't happen, right? Or you need to reverse the party that's in power in your state so you can get those trigger laws taken off the books. And then the second part is when you look at who has the ability to put a Supreme Court justice in place, you got to vote for that person that's going to put the Supreme Court justice in place that backs your ideals.
But the only issue with that is, we're going to replace 3 judges, right? If that's, well, not 10.
Yeah.
But, that's going to take
Exactly, bro.
almost 30 years.
Exactly. And this is what Hillary tried to tell people
Like, we'd be 70
that they didn't
just
want
to
to listen
change
to.
something like this can go on longer than that.
You know how-
assume you have a Democratic president between now and the next 30, right?
Yeah.
That's 30 years you're waiting
Yeah.
just to remove those three or replace what's on the bench.
Yes.
And then you need a swing vote anyway. So,
You know how there's like a Simpsons meme for everything?
oh my God.
Like Simpsons did everything first.
Yeah.
There's literally a Hillary tweet for everything. See, like everything that's happening now, like Hillary tweeted about this back in 2015, 2016.
See.
All of it. Like she was right about everything, bro.
Right.
It's crazy. And yeah, I mean, listen, unless they're gonna bring up Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh, on perjury charges or something like that for lying during their confirmation hearings and trying to have them impeached. This is what we're stuck with. So at the end of the day, Trump won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this was the purpose.
Well, this isn't the only. Let's call it what it is. This isn't the only issue that's going to be on the table on the
Oh,
chopping
no.
block.
We already know there's going to be
Yeah.
a hell of issues.
Oh
Look,
yeah, thanks to Uncle Clarence.
Yeah, this
bro.
isn't the only issue. So obviously now we have to start to adjust our sights a bit, right? We got to start to adjust our sights a bit. Roe v. Wade means abortion is illegal, and in certain places we have blue states who are standing up, who are fighting a good fight,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And being, I guess, what you can consider an ally for the women who still need that service.
Speaking of which,
or
shout out
just
to,
want that service.
what's his face? Ed Stack and Lauren Hubbard, I think it was. The guy who, CEO for Dick's. Well, Lauren Hubbard,
yeah.
ironically, is called Dick's. But
Pause.
yes. Ironically, it's called Dick's.
Immature ass
Anywho,
motherfucker.
what they're doing basically is they're issuing a $4,000 travel package, so to speak, for
Yeah.
anybody who needs to travel to take care of a certain issue based on status of what has happened with Roe v. Wade, obviously.
Yeah.
How crazy is that though? Like I'm not mad that they're doing it, right?
Well, you
But
have to have some type of. There has to be some equal and opposite force to be met with the craziness of
and
overturning Roe v. Wade.
And I understand that, and I understand the sentiment and the gesture of what they are doing, and I'm not inherently saying they are wrong. What I'm saying is, it's wild to me that the cashier at Dick's now has to let their supervisor know that they have to go out of state to get an abortion.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's a crazy sentiment right there. Like, hey, need some time off. Got to get an abortion this week. Can I get that package real quick? What?
Yeah, that sounds crazy, right?
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds insane.
Like the fact that that's
I think the more realistically is it's that employee is going to HR who will then
Right.
But even
handle that.
even going to HR though, bro.
But
like, that's like why is
no,
this a
listen,
conversation?
I can't see the the 27-year-old cashier going to the 20-year-old supervisor on the floor, being like, "Yo, bro, I got to go handle this real quick."
But this is what I'm saying.
It's ridiculous.
Like, you see what I mean? Like what? There's no privacy involved in that.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that should be like any other medical procedure that you can do without having to tell your boss, other than to say, hey, I have a doctor's appointment. I need off this day.
Do we think that forced vasectomies is going to be on the table at some point?
Hell no, that ain't gonna happen, bro.
No.
Hell no. You
Not-
think these,
not in this
these-
country.
Listen, these. Nah, that ain't gonna happen.
No.
That's
I
all
know,
I'm saying.
They would do it more to a specific group than they would to themselves. That's more likely to happen.
It's interesting.
They will never.
That is more likely to happen.
It will never happen.
But you know what's just crazy? I mean, again, not to segue off, but the fact that we're doing active shooter training now for these companies. Like, I had to do one. I know a couple people actually had to do active shooter training.
Yeah, bro. Shit getting
Like,
real
that's
out
the
here.
norm now. It is now a company policy and procedure and a chart
Yeah.
to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to that because that's obviously. I feel like this is tied into that, which is tied into a lot of other things.
So here's a fun fact, right? If the active shooter rapes one of the people who are the victims, she can't get an abortion in the state that she's in, but the gun that the guy is probably inadmissible because, it's protected. Just saying.
Talk about guns.
Just saying. He can shoot people. He can do 5 to 10 and get off, but she's going to like.
Listen,
bro.
I'll tell anybody out there, like, haven't done it yet, still contemplating, still on the fence, but vasectomies are reversible. That's where I'll leave it. That's where I'll leave it. I'm not. Right now, it's not a forced thing, but
And that's the thing, right? If that's your personal choice, that should be your personal choice.
Correct.
And you should be able to go to your employer, say, "Hey, I need a day off," and go take care of your business.
Correct.
You shouldn't have to go to your boss and be like, "Yo, gotta get the snip." Gonna be out 2 to 3.
Snip and the snip.
yeah, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, that's crazy. And the notion that people are treating abortions like birth control is also wild.
Insane.
Like,
Completely
I don't
insane.
know anybody who's getting abortions because they think it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? Like, just randomly going out and getting pregnant because
Yeah.
an abortion is on the table as an option.
Yeah.
That, like,
Listen, every woman who is
on,
out
man.
there is now being treated as an animal. Like you're making a choice to go spade your dog or not. Like that's really what this shit comes down to.
it's crazy, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what this shit is. Like you
Yeah.
can't do it here. I'm gonna go take you to another
But
vet somewhere
you
else and get this
guys,
shit done.
you guys absolutely hit the nail on the head. Is that it really comes down to people voting in their own self-interest.
Yes.
I just don't understand the self-interest that is, let's make abortion illegal. Like I just don't get that at all.
Well, so like I said in the last pod, I believe it's a power issue, bro. It's flexing the power over the other people.
But I guess so. When I'm saying all this, like I'm envisioning a certain group of people in my head who are not white,
Right?
you know, and who are not male, and who are for this decision of pro-life, abortion shouldn't be an option. Like I don't understand that group of people. It's a matter for me. It's like there's a bit of confusion. There's a bit of like, well, I just want to be on the other side. I want to be different, but it just doesn't make sense. Like there's so many reasons why a woman would choose an abortion.
Right.
Let alone like medically or just her choice.
Right.
And I just don't understand why this is one of those things where it had to be. And B, I know you're answering my question, but it's still just unfathomable to me. That's what I'm saying.
Does this feel any different than any country that would limit the amount of kids a family could have?
What type of form of government are those countries under?
No, I mean, I get that. No, look,
Authoritarian,
that's my point.
fascist.
Like communist and things
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
communism.
obviously. But I'm just saying, like, it's being done just at a different scale.
Yeah.
And I think I hate to say it, this is shocking, but almost I can see it happening here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not shocked anymore to, like, what the fuck is left
Yeah.
Right.
at this point.
Well, you know what? This is the last thing we're going to say, too. Like, I'm curious if you go into your hometown, Black Baptist church and ask the women in there how they feel about Roe v. Wade. I wonder what the answer would be.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm not even being funny here.
That's kind of a loaded hypothetical question because it really depends on also how you feel about church, right? Like y'all might have a different view on church than I do, as people that probably obviously attend services way more frequently than me,
Have attended.
who doesn't attend services at all, right? Like I don't go to church.
I think I'm in that boat as well.
You see what I'm saying? But I find church to be hypocritical.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if I walked into a church and somebody was like, "Oh, good, I'm glad people lost the right to choice." That wouldn't shock me at all. That'd be very much in line with how I feel people in the church think.
But I mean, like I said, there's so many different layers to be pulled off of this thing, right?
Right.
And we're just touching the surface of it right
Right.
now because the decision just came out, and we're trying to keep this thing.
But the religious angle is a ruse. Like let's be honest. Like the religious angle that the Republican Party uses to justify what they do is a lie. They don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? That's just another talking point for them.
It's also hypocritical in some way that a whole party, regardless of who you are, can use a religious point of view to make a law.
Well, and that's the problem, right?
But then it's like,
But we literally just this week took more steps to demolish the separation of church and
Yeah,
state
correct.
again in the
Exactly.
Supreme Court.
Such
know what I'm saying?
such a great intro to possibly next week's topic.
30 minutes is up.
Correct. But no, keep that in mind
Yeah.
because we can absolutely come back around to that.
Yeah.
And another thing,
Yeah.
You know who's protected though? Catholic priests don't gotta worry about none of this. But anyway,
Facts.
All right, and that's how we're going to end episode 75 of the From Earth podcast.
Yeah.
To all the listeners and the viewers, thank you. We appreciate you guys
altar
rocking with
boys
us.
don't get pregnant.
We are back. Hey, if you're on the fence, just go get the vasectomy done. You can get it, handled at another time later. But now, for real, be responsible. But then again, I can't tell you what to do because it's a free country. Any questions?
Oh, is it?
Comments? Concerns?
Is it?
Vasectomy, bros. All right, we're done.
We're done here.
All right, peace.
Just see what?
We're done.
Yeah, hey.
We're done.